Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor. Well, taking a serious view of the imposition of President's rule in Arunachal Pradesh, the Supreme Court has issued a notice to centre over the constitutional crisis. Well, that is the big story that we'll be looking at this morning. But let us begin with the headlines. Supreme Court issues a notice to government on decision to impose central rule in Arunachal Pradesh, seeks response by Friday. Congress says it has open mind in reaching out to rebels. SC/ST teachers at Hyderabad Central University to go on a hunger strike. This after protests against Rohit Vemula's suicide escalate. Central University students join the call for a nationwide strike. Seven police personnel killed in landmine explosion triggered by Naxals on their convoy in Palamu in Jharkhand. In another incident in Chhattisgarh, 3 Naxals are killed in an encounter by police. In Australian Open, Novak Djokovic takes on Roger Federer in the first men's semi-final today. Top seed Serena Williams to battle Agnieszka Radwanska, Sania Mirza and Martina Hingis in mixed doubles finals. And astronomers discover the largest known solar system. It consists of a large planet that's nearly 15 times the mass of Jupiter, and it nearly takes 1 million years to orbit its star. First, the big story that we're tracking. The Supreme Court has issued notices to the union government and the governor, asking them to file a reply by Friday on the implementation of the president's rule in Arunachal Pradesh. The governor sought to maintain the secrecy of his report recommending president's rule, even as the Congress, which has filed a petition against the implementation of president's rule, opposed it. The matter will be heard on Monday next.
The Supreme Court came down heavily on the centre on Wednesday, seeking relevant material that would back its claim that there has been a failure of constitutional machinery in Arunachal Pradesh. The apex court asked the governor to furnish his report that led to the implementation of president's rule in the state. The court also wanted to know why it was not apprised about the latest development. Issuing a notice to the centre and the governor, the court asked them to file a reply by Friday and posted the matter for Monday.
The governor and the Union of India is to place the report in a sealed envelope before the court, may at the earliest. The court wants to know, ये देखना चाहते हैं कि report के अंदर क्या है, क्या grounds हैं, जिसके ऊपर ये proclamation जारी हुई है.
So far as the reports submitted by the Honorable Governor to the central government and to the President of India about the situation, law and order situation in the state is concerned, they are confidential documents. They are between the Governor as the President of India or the Cabinet Secretary.
The 5-judge Constitution bench led by Justice J.S. Kheher issued the notice on a petition filed by the Congress party. In its petition, the party said the proclamation of emergency was a result of a conspiracy by the centre and the governor to pull down the ruling Congress party in the state.
Will Modi ji and Modi government answer as to why was President rule imposed when Supreme Court's Constitution bench is hearing the matter, and what is gross emergency? Will Modi ji answer, is it not true that Congress has 46 MLAs and BJP only has 12 MLAs? Do they want to buy MLAs and consequently topple an elected government?
Since it is a sub judice in the Supreme Court, is hearing the matter, and I am full faith in judiciary. We'll wait for the outcome of the.
The political turmoil in the state has seen the impeachment of the Assembly Speaker, legislative session held in community halls, and the governor under attack for playing partisan. The centre has justified its action, saying the crisis amount to violation of the Constitution's Article 174(1). It prescribes there should not be a gap of more than 6 months between 2 sessions of a state assembly. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And big story coming in from Jharkhand, where 7 police personnel have been killed in a Maoist attack in Palamu district of the state. Now, 6 policemen have also been injured. Now, the policemen were going towards the Kala Pahari area in a convoy at around 5 p.m. on Wednesday as part of reinforcements when a landmine exploded and the vehicle carrying them blew up. The Jharkhand police had cornered a group of Maoists in Kala Pahari area in Chhatarpur block of Palamu district 2 days ago. The police and Maoists have since been engaged in a gun battle. The injured men have been taken to the administrative headquarters of Daltonganj. Efforts are on to take the critical ones to Ranchi by chopper tonight. Meanwhile, in Dantewara in Chhattisgarh, 3 Naxals have been killed in an encounter with the police. Weapons have also been seized from the spot of the encounter.
11-12 बजे के आसपास जैसे मतलब पहुंचे तो फिर आपको जो लखापाला और पुरम पारा के बीच में तगड़ा मतलब मुठभेड़ हुआ था नक्सलियों के साथ, जिसमें 3 नक्सली मारे गए।
And on to some other news, SC and ST teachers of the Hyderabad Central University have announced that they will be going on a hunger strike over demand for resignation of the Vice-Chancellor and the in-charge Vice-Chancellor in the wake of Rohit Vemula's suicide. Now, this after the protest intensified after the Dalit scholar's suicide. The call for a nationwide strike by the central universities was backed by universities in Chennai as well as the JNU. In Chennai, the students were detained for demonstrating against union ministers Smriti Irani and Bandaru Dattatreya.
It's been 10 days since Dalit scholar Rohit Vemula committed suicide. But protests at the Hyderabad Central University show no signs of fading. A fresh batch of students joined the hunger strike after the condition of the previous group of 6 students worsened on Wednesday. Some of them were forcibly taken to the hospital, but the protesting students vowed to continue with the strike till their demands are met.
इनकी स्थिति ऐसी है कि वो बोल भी नहीं पा रहे हैं। अभी जब वो बात कर रहे हैं तब भी हेडेक हो रहा है, उनको चक्कर आ रहा है और इनकी हेल्थ भी बहुत तेजी से डिटीरियरेट हो रही है।
Our demand is only unless until if we are not get our demands, we won't leave our this struggle. Why? Because our first primary demand is VC upper house should be removed that VC post. Why? Because this is we are doing here as a project just to social justice for Rohit Vemula, not for any compensation or any employment anything, only for the justice.
Among the students' demands is the ouster of Vice-Chancellor P. Appa Rao, who is currently on leave, and the promulgation of the Rohit Act aimed at preventing suicide of university students belonging to scheduled castes, backward classes and minorities.
Go back, go back. We want justice. We want justice. We want justice.
The interim Vice-Chancellor's appeals to end the protest have fallen on deaf ears. In fact, the agitating students have threatened to intensify the stir in the coming days, with Rohit's birthday on Saturday, the 30th of January, to be marked with the Chalo Delhi protest.
This protest will go on and we are going to intensify the protest. Till now, no government official has come to talk to us. So we are going to intensify the protest. Already in overall India, all the central universities are protesting. Again, already shut down and we are going to stall this thing again.
On Wednesday, the protest reached nationwide as student organizations from different central universities observed a one-day strike demanding justice for Rohit Vemula. In Chennai, nearly 60 students were detained for demonstrating against Union Ministers Smriti Irani and Bandaru Dattatreya. Massive protests were also held at the JNU campus in Delhi.
हम डिमांड करते हैं कि आत्महत्याओं को रोकने के लिए एक कमेटी बनी थी सरकार के द्वारा प्रोफेसर सुखदेव थोराट की, उस थोराट कमेटी के रिकमेंडेशंस को लागू किया जाए। साथ ही साथ जो कल्प्रिट्स हैं इस केस में इन्वॉल्व हैं, चाहे वो स्मृति ईरानी हो, चाहे वो दत्तात्रेय हो, चाहे अप्पा राव हो, इनको इस्तीफा देना पड़ेगा, इनके ऊपर कार्रवाई करनी पड़ेगी सरकार को।
Meanwhile, Rohit Vemula's father has sought a judicial probe into his son's death. There's a bigger issue than caste discrimination that forced his son to commit suicide. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In a major development, the Union Cabinet has approved 17 India Reserve battalions for Jammu and Kashmir and the states affected by left-wing extremism. It also approved an increase of 200 crore rupees in the authorized share capital of the National Scheduled Caste Finance and Development Corporation.
The Union Cabinet on Wednesday approved 17 Indian Reserve battalions by Jammu and Kashmir and left-wing extremism affected states. Of these, 5 will be in Kashmir, 4 in Chhattisgarh, 3 each in Jharkhand and Odisha, and 2 in Maharashtra. Focus will be on recruiting local youths, filling 60% posts of constables and class 4 staff in Jammu and Kashmir from border districts, filling 75% posts of constable from 27 core districts in other states. The cabinet also approved enhancement of authorized share capital of the National Scheduled Caste Finance and Development Corporation from 1,000 crore rupees to 1,200 crore rupees. In an attempt to revive highway projects, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs also approved the hybrid annuity model as one of the modes of delivery to implement highway projects. Vishal Dahiya's report for Rajya Sabha Television.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has taken strong exception to people's complaints and grievances related to the customs and excise sectors. Now, he has directed strict action against the officials responsible. The Prime Minister's directions came while chairing a 9th meeting of Pragati. Well, it is an IT-based multimodal platform under which he interacts with top officials of various central departments and state governments via video conferencing. The Prime Minister has also asked all secretaries whose department have extensive public dealing to set up a system for top-level monitoring of grievances immediately. During the meeting, Modi reviewed the progress of vital infrastructure projects in the road, railway, coal, power and renewable energy sector spread over several states. And the BJP Parliamentary Board will meet today to welcome Amit Shah to his second term as party president following his election on Sunday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and all other members of the party's highest decision-making body are expected to attend that meeting. Well, Amit Shah, a close confidant of Prime Minister Modi, was elected unopposed with many union ministers and virtually all party chief ministers and state presidents present at the headquarters in a show of support. Well, Prime Minister Modi was one among the leaders to have proposed Shah's name for a new term. Veterans L.K. Advani and Murli Manohar Joshi had given the exercise a miss, and Amit Shah had met both of them subsequently. And what else is lined up for the day? Let's take a look in the day ahead. Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari will release the second volume of President Pranab Mukherjee's memoirs today. The book, titled The Turbulent Years, covers the period from 1980 to 1996, discussing the president's quiet role in calming and managing erstwhile Soviet Union elements, while former Prime Ministers P.V. Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh unleashed landmark economic reforms, quashing Soviet-style economic models. Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari and Finance Minister Arun Jaitley will be meeting leading bankers today to resolve the contentious issue of stalled highway projects. They will discuss issues on model concession agreement and seek feedback on funding future highway projects, as many important projects are stuck due to various problems, including cost escalation, unviability of projects, and row between the bankers and concessionaries. The Delhi High Court will hear a plea over scrapping of management quota in Delhi's nursery school admissions. Well, earlier this month, the court had issued notice to the AAP government on petitions questioning his decision to scrap management and other quotas in nursery admissions in private schools. The Delhi government had defended its decision by saying that the government is trying to bring in more transparency in the admission process of private schools. Well, in Breakfast News, we'll take a very short break. We'll be back with more. Stay tuned.
Subhash Chandra Bose gave a revolutionary edge to India's freedom struggle. Netaji, as he was popularly known, was elected Congress president twice, but left the organization in 1939 following differences with Mahatma Gandhi. He founded the Forward Bloc and the Kisan Sabha before leaving for Singapore to organize the Indian National Army. After failing to secure Soviet Union support for India's freedom struggle, he joined hands with Germany and Japan to fight the British. His slogans Dilli Chalo and Jai Hind energized millions of youngsters in India. Bose went missing in 1945 after a plane crash in Taiwan.
Well, Welcome back after the break. Now, a big red and white coloured balloon flying towards the Rajya airport on Wednesday afternoon raised security concerns in the national capital. However, the Delhi police later issued a clarification via Twitter saying that it belonged to the weather department and there was no need to panic. Well, this incident comes a day after a similar flying object was shot down by the Indian Air Force over Barmer in Rajasthan after it had allegedly crossed the border to enter the Indian space. The top government sources have said that the US-made helium-filled balloon had come in from Pakistan and it could have been an attempt to gauge India's response time. Well, the Defence Ministry has now written to the Ministry of External Affairs about it. The development is significant as terrorist outfits like Lashkar-e-Toiba are armed with unmanned aerial vehicles, and there is a fear that the incident could be a precursor activity for what could be a much larger and sinister intrusion, either with an aircraft or a drone.
छोटे लगभग 4 से 5 टुकड़े वहाँ पे गिरे हुए थे और जनहानि इसमें अभी तक कोई नहीं हुई। हम लगातार वायुसेना अधिकारियों से संपर्क में हैं और ये चीज़ें जब्त करके हम वायुसेना को सुपुर्द करेंगे ताकि वो इसमें जांच करके बता सके कि ये कैसे हुआ है और कहाँ से ये चीज़ें आई।
Meanwhile, in related news, 3 flights, including 2 international flights, were grounded on Wednesday after 4 bomb threat calls were received in quick succession at the Delhi and the Bangalore airports. While Air India and Jet Airways flights to Kathmandu carrying more than 100 passengers were grounded at the Rajya airport in New Delhi, Air Asia's Goa flight from Bangalore with 141 passengers on board also failed to take off on scheduled time due to similar reasons. The flights were grounded after the airport police received an anonymous call on Wednesday afternoon saying that there were bombs inside 2 laptop bags kept in the planes of Air India and Jet Airways flight. Well, the flights finally took off after receiving clearances from the security agencies. And in news from across the border, in a climb down from his earlier hardline stance, Nepal's Deputy Prime Minister C.P. Manali has said that the country may have some differences with India, but can never show enmity towards it. Well, his comments came at a symposium organized by Nepal-India Friendship Society to mark India's 67th Republic Day in Kathmandu. The remarks come amid an ongoing political crisis in Nepal involving Madheshis who have led a violent protest demanding more representation and are opposed to a 7-provincial structure in the new constitution that divides their ancestral homeland. Now, Manali said that Nepal will pursue good neighborly relations with both India and China. Well, his latest statements are in stark contrast to his stance, which was reflected in November last year, when Manali had accused India of trying to disintegrate the country and annex the Terai region. Well, 31 member countries of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development have agreed on rules to stop companies using complex tax arrangements to avoid paying corporate tax. The agreement will make it harder for firms to hide money in tax havens or play one country's tax authority against another. Now, firms such as Google, Amazon and Facebook will have now to pay tax in the country where the profits are made. The move follows public anger at the tax practices of some multinationals. Now, Google's deal to pay £130 million to the UK's HM Revenue and Customs is in back taxes for the past decade has seen it widely criticized for not paying its fair share of corporate tax. The agreement between 31 nations, including France and the UK, is about sharing information rather than a new tax or new law. And in some interesting news, well, astronomers have discovered the largest known solar system consisting of a large planet that takes nearly 1 million years to orbit its star. Well, the gas giant is 1 trillion kilometers away, making its orbit 140 times wider than Pluto's path around our sun. Well, only a handful of extremely wide pairs of this kind have been found in the recent years. The planet is between 12 and 15 times the mass of Jupiter. Well, this system is nearly 3 times the size of the previous widest star-planet pair. The star and its planet were found by a survey of young stars and brown dwarfs in Earth's neighborhood. Once team members discovered they were a similar distance from the Earth, about 100 light years, they compared the motion of the two through space and realized that they were moving together. Now a look at other international news and updates in World Wrap. The Center for Disease Control in the United States have released a transmission electron micrograph that showed the Zika virus. The mosquito-borne virus has been linked to brain damage in thousands of babies in Brazil. There is, however, no vaccine or treatment for Zika so far, which causes mild fever and rash. An estimated 80% of people inflicted with the virus show no symptoms. The vaccine for the virus could take as much as 10 years to be developed. Frustrated by the long-winded asylum process and poor conditions at the shelters in Germany, around 50 asylum seekers from Iraq returned home this month. The number of Iraqis opting to go back to their country is rising steadily, with around 200 people leaving the country in December last year. Almost 30,000 Iraqis applied for asylum in Germany last year. The Iraqi embassy in Berlin has issued 1,400 passports recently for Iraqi migrants who want to return. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani arrived in Paris on Wednesday to strengthen bilateral ties and enhance relations that can benefit both Iran and France. Rouhani began his trip to Paris by meeting French Foreign Minister and the Minister of Finance. He also met around 20 company executives. Rouhani will be delivering a speech to business leaders today at a Franco-Iranian forum. The leaders of Turkey's pro-Kurdish opposition party has cancelled an international community to put more pressure on the Turkish government and Kurdistan Workers' Party fighters, or the PKK, to return to peace talks. The opposition party leader said on Wednesday that the country's conflict is no longer a domestic issue, as the increasing violence was directly linked to the Syrian conflict and the Europe migrant crisis. Turkey is seeing the worst violence in 2 decades after 2.5 years of ceasefire with the PKK, which collapsed in July last year. We're on to sports now, and in the Australian Open, world number 1 Novak Djokovic will take on 17 times Grand Slam champion Roger Federer in the first men's semi-final today. In the women's semi-final, top seed Serena Williams will be up against Agnieszka Radwanska. Well, a second semi-final will feature Angelique Kerber and Johanna Konta. Well, number 1 women's doubles pair of Sania Mirza and Martina Hingis continued their splendid form as they reached the final with easy victory on Wednesday.
German Angelique Kerber booked a place in her first ever Australian Open semi-final with a fearless straight sets victory against Victoria Azarenka. Kerber had lost all 6 of her previous meetings against the 2-time champion, but her aggressive play this time ended with a 6-3, 7-5 victory.
I played very well. I mean, I was playing my game from the first point, and also when I was down 2-5, I was actually playing more aggressive on this time, and I think that was the key. I served very well and moving good. So I think the key from this match was that I was playing and I won the match. She doesn't lose it. I won it.
On another court, opportunity knocked for Johanna Konta, who seized it with both hands to go storming into the semi-finals. The 24-year-old British number 1, who had never even played in the main draw of this event before, defeated China's Zheng Shuai 6-4, 6-1 in an hour and 23 minutes. Konta thereby became the first British woman since 1983 to make it to the last 4 of a Grand Slam. In the men's draw, world number 2 Andy Murray persevered to defeat Spain's David Ferrer 6-3, 6-7, 6-2, 6-3 to move into his 6th semi-final in 7 years at the Australian Open on Wednesday.
Was feeling good. You know, that first game after the delay was very important. I saved a couple of break points, but didn't actually play a good game. So it was nice to get through that game, and then I felt like started to play better as the match went on.
Murray will play Milos Raonic, who defeated Gael Monfils 6-3, 3-6, 6-3, 6-4 to earn a spot in his second career Grand Slam semi-final.
Women's doubles top seeds Sania Mirza and Martina Hingis hardly broke sweat on their way to victory in their 35th successive match and enter the women's doubles final. The Indo-Swiss pair took only 54 minutes to beat the German-Czech 13 seeds Julia Georges and Karolina Pliskova 6-1, 6-0. They will take on Czech 7 seeds Andrea Hlakova and Lucy Radeka in the final to earn their 8th title on the trot. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And more sporting action now in Sports Wrap. Ace Indian shooter Hina Sindhu on Wednesday claimed an Olympic quota by bagging the gold medal in the 10 meters air pistol at the Asia Olympic qualifying competition in New Delhi. Despite starting off with an average score of 9.8, she managed to stay ahead for most of the 20 shots final round. This was India's 9th quota from shooting for the Olympics. Top Indian shuttlers K. Srikanth, Parupalli Kashyap and PV Sindhu advanced to the second round after easy victories in the Saeed Modi International Badminton Tournament. Women's doubles pair of Jwala Gutta and Ashwini Ponappa also sailed into the second round with comfortable victory. However, 5th seed HS Pranoy and RMV Guru Sai Dutt bowed out after faltering in the first round. Manchester City fought back a first-leg deficit to beat Everton 3-1 after a thrilling semi-final in the Capital One Cup. Everton took on the lead in the 18th minute, but City struck back with goals from Fernandinho, Kevin De Bruyne and Sergio Aguero. City will now face Liverpool in the final on 28th of February. Chelsea's midfielder Ramirez has joined a Chinese side Jiangsu Suning in a move reported to be worth up to £25 million. Ramirez joined Chelsea in 2010 from Benfica and he scored 34 goals in 251 appearances for the Blues. The 28-year-old Brazil midfielder had agreed a new 4-year deal in October but had only started 7 Premier League games this season. Well, that's all in this edition of Breakfast News, but news and updates continue on your channel. Thanks for your time.